Raindrops Tea Shop. I'm Raindrops, and today I will be helping you with your tea selections. So, have you ever been in a Chinese tea shop before? No, it's your first time? Okay. Well, do you normally drink tea? Do you have any favorites? Do you like lighter teas or darker teas? You're not sure. Okay. Well, how about we'll go through the different types of teas and give you a little smell, a little sniff. You can look at them and we can decide at the end which one you like. Then I can brew it for you, okay? How does that sound? Okay, good. Well, let's start with the first one then. First we have a jasmine white tea. Just tell you a little bit about Chinese tea then. With all tea, and we're specifically talking about leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant. So all these different types of teas are just the result of processing the leaves differently. With white tea, it is white because the leaves that are used for white tea are the first leaves of spring. They are picked when they are still budding, as new leaves have little white hairs on them. White tea are all kind of fuzzy and white looking because these are very, very soft and young leaves. The taste of white tea is very light and refreshing. Has floral notes added to it. It is lightly fragranced, so it is very light and flowery tea. And now, because white tea is only dried, it's not roasted, it's not fermented, they do go bad within a year or so, so it's best to consume the new tea of every year if you are into white tea or green tea. That's why with white tea, it is customary for serious drinkers to get the new xingcha, new tea of every spring. That gives you the freshest, nicest teas. Let's give it a smell. It's a very light and refreshing tea. Put that here for you. The next two teas that we have are green teas. I will show you the jasmine dragon pearls first. Here they are. So these are hand-rolled green tea. And these are fragranced with the jasmine flowers. It gives a very, very light and refreshing taste, but green tea is slightly more astringent and grassy compared to white tea and every other kind of tea. Now, because jasmine pearls are hand-rolled, they go up for a bit more in pricing compared to some of the other teas. You can get very, very high quality jasmine pearls. If we brew this, you will see when these pearls unfurl, they actually are very, very large leaves. So compared to the white tea, which has leaves that are picked when they are buds, so they're very small, very soft. These are the older leaves that are very long and very big. That's how they can be rolled. also green tea, but this time not fragranced. It is just straight green tea, and it is called Dragon Well Longjing Tea. So as you can see, the leaves of this tea are very flat, they're pressed. And there's a story to this. So Longjing is produced in Longjing village near Hangzhou, which is a very scenic touristy place in China. There they have a lake called Xihu. And it is said that Qianlong Emperor of the Qing dynasty, he was the third emperor of the Qing dynasty, he liked to visit the countryside, not as himself, not as the king, but dressed up as a merchant so that he could see the inner workings of his country the way that the peasants see it, so he could understand how the civilians were living. So he liked to go on trips very much, and when he was visiting Xihu, Hangzhou, and he came across this tea, he really liked it, and it is said that he took leaves of this tea and kept it inside the pages of his book. And so the leaves dried flat and pressed, and that is why these leaves are flat. Now this is a straight green tea. With green tea, when you brew green tea, try not to have the temperature of the water as boiling, because it is still green, it is not roasted or anything. Having a really high temperature of water will actually burn the leaves when you brew it, and that will make the tea very bitter, very astringent. So with green tea, it's good to have the water maybe sit 5 minutes, 3 minutes after it's boiled, and then pre-warm the teapot as always, and then pour it into the tea. Now with Longjing, it's good to actually just brew it in a glass cup when you can see the leaves, see the tea. And before you drink any tea, always take a sniff, smell the tea fragrance. Because green tea is just simply dried, it isn't roasted or fermented. The caffeine level in green tea and white tea is at its normal maximum level. So this is good for wanting to lift your spirits up, with caffeine. Or it is good for after a big meal, where all the leafy bits of green can cut traces from your supper, from your lunch, from your meal. And usually green tea is said to help with losing weight, although you'd need to consume very concentrated or lots and lots of tea for it to really see any effect. But it is definitely good for you. And because it is green tea, when you brew tea and you get the little leaf bits, it is actually okay to drink or eat them. And long ago, tea was actually a dish, like something you ate instead of just something you drank. So leaves are definitely edible, especially green tea. The next category of tea we have is oolong tea. So I'm sure you've heard of oolong tea. It's very popular, very common. There are many different kinds of oolong tea. So the one I have today is called Alishan oolong tea. Now, these high mountain teas, Alishan tea, Dongting tea, Gaoshan tea, high mountain tea, they're all from the high mountains of Taiwan. And these teas are usually rolled not as meticulously as the dragon pearls, though. These are just scrumpled up pellets of tea, and they give very light, mellow, sweet almost tasting tea. The color that you get when you brew it is usually very light yellow and very different from the other types of oolong tea. So we have Alishan, Ali Mountain tea, green tea, oolong tea here. Now, the other kinds of oolong tea, like the ones from Fujian province, the most popular one there is called Guanyin, Iron Goddess, or just plain oolong. They have a slightly more orangey hue to it when you brew it, but Guanyin looks more or less like this as well. However, there are oolong teas from Wuyi Mountain, Wuyishan. Teas like Da Hong Pao, Shui Xian. They're very popular, and their characteristic is that they are not scrumpled up rolled like this. They're actually more or less really long. They're not flat, but they are long, like these teas. And their specialty is actually charcoal roasted oolong tea. You have very smoky, bold flavors from oolong tea from Wuyi Mountain. Now, oolong tea is half fermented, so they won't go bad if you leave them lying around for a year or two. But the initial fragrance does go away a bit when you brew them. It's okay to use really hot water. Don't let your boiled water stand for too long before brewing it. When you brew the Wuyishan oolong teas. They are a lot darker in color. They come out dark orange, kind of reddish, whereas the high mountain teas are more yellow, and there is a very distinct difference in flavor as well. Next, we have the category of tea known as black tea, or really, really dark red tea. Black tea in English. We have pu'er tea. Now, pu'er tea is actually 100% fermented, so they won't oxidize. They'll be fine. You don't have to store them anyway, just in the pantry is fine. And pu'er tea usually comes in compressed bricks or cakes. Because they are fermented, they are pressed down and kept for a long, long time. Their color, when you brew it, is actually very, very dark red, almost burgundy. But the taste is very, very mellow and sweet compared to the very astringent and grassy green tea. This one is a brick pour. They also come in round cakes, pancakes. And you simply break it off like so. And they're good to brew. Now, because pu'er tea is fermented, it's always good to wash it before you brew. Now you don't, put it in a strainer and run it through the sink, but you do put it in your teapot, and then you put water in and you let the first brew go. Just pour out the first brew and don't drink it. It is very flavorful, so it will last many, many brews. Now, I also have here a loose pu'er tea. As you can see, it's still rather chunky. It's all pressed tea. These aren't individual tea leaves anymore, they're chunks of tea leaves. And usually pu'er because it is kept for a long time and it is fermented 100%. The best tea leaves to use for pu'er are the winter leaves. So the last harvest of the Camellia sinensis plant. because we have to use the oldest leaves that can stand up to the fermentation process. Smell like anything. But the brewed tea is very, very deep and mellow. And it is supposedly better for your health. Now the last tea that we have is the floral teas. Now, in Western culture, there are herbal teas where you use the leaves or the stems of plants that are not the Camellia sinensis plant. But in China, we only have floral teas, so we only have dried flower teas. The common flower teas that we usually drink are the chrysanthemum, which I have here, just dried chrysanthemum leaf flowers. They will expand in water to their original size. We also have jasmine flower teas now and osmanthus flower teas. Now with jasmine and osmanthus, because they are smaller flowers, they're not as flavorful. They have a nice fragrance, but they're not as flavorful as the chrysanthemum. Jasmine and osmanthus are actually more commonly added to oolong and green teas as like fragrance. So you can taste and you can smell the jasmine and osmanthus in various oolong and green teas, but they are not usually drunk by themselves. Or you will get their flowers inside a mix of oolong or green tea, but not by themselves. But with this chrysanthemum tea is usually drank in the summer because it's said to be a cooler drink. We would drink it in the summer to bring down the summer heat. And because it is a sweeter tasting kind of tea, we usually put goji berries or rock sugar in with it as well. I'll just hold up all of them again for you, and just let me know which one you would like to try. So we have the white tea, jasmine white tea. Very light floral tasting tea. We have our jasmine pearls, jasmine dragon pearls. Dragon Wild Longjing. Very flat, lightly astringent, very full. Green tea. Shan Mountain Oolong. Fermented pour. lastly, the chrysanthemum flower tea. Watch. Well, which would you like me to brew up for you? The oolong, yeah, that's a good choice. It's a very mellow tea. So I'd recommend it, yes, for a beginner tea. There's nothing strange tasting about it, nothing unexpected, so it's very light and pleasant tea. Well, let me just get the teapot ready. We have to preheat everything or else the tea fragrance will be lost. Preheat the cups as well. Simply pour out. Just gonna get the other tea put away. Put in some of the oolong tea for you. Take a sniff of tea in a hot teapot. It smells divine. Get some hot water. Just let the tea sit and brew. So today we'll be using some nicely glazed double-walled ceramic cups. The white enamel will let the color of the tea show up nicely. Got pictures of a lotus flower on them. Hand painted. Well, I hope you enjoy your stay at the tea shop. Just keep putting in hot water, waiting about half a minute for each brew now, and enjoy your tea. Call me if you need anything.